So now I'm going to get into the kinds of Bible verses that have helped me in my moments of crisis. I'm also going to share a few books that have really, really helped. So this is one I wrote a blog post about, which I'll link in the comments. And it is Job 13:15 from English Standard Version. It says, "Though he slay me, I will hope in him, yet I will argue my ways to his face." I felt like God was laying me on the altar and like burning me like a living sacrifice through these crises that I had to face. And even on days when I couldn't like hold hope in my hands, I knew I could argue and say, this is not fair. And, kind of go with Asaph says, why do the wicked prosper? That was very helpful to me. I've said that many a time during this period. Why? Okay, I'm someone who literally has not caused any of this, but the wicked people who cause this are prospering. Like they're moving on. And I'm stuck because of the trauma that they caused. Okay, so that was a way of arguing my ways to God's face, right? Using Asaph's words. And then going back to Job and thinking about, reading Job really helped. Job is in like the darkest possible places. He says, "Cursed is the day I was born." You know, that's how you feel when you are going through an absolute crisis. And so going back to that verse again and again, it kind of gave me a plan. I'm a planner. So I'm saying, I will hope in him, maybe not because I can feel it, but I'm going to keep the rhythms that I always had when I felt like God hadn't betrayed me. So getting up every morning and doing my devotion, reading my Bible, singing praise songs, continuing to go to church, listening to Christian podcasts, right? Like doing all those things helped me keep that cord of hope attached to those times when those spiritual disciplines really were helping me. And of course, praying is the arguing my ways to his face. So very ugly prayers full of curse words, honestly. Very like accusatory things. Like, when we look at Job, like Job 1 and 2, we're seeing how God allows Satan to do these things. And so there was a lot of times that I was saying, I don't understand why you allowed this. Like you allowed it. Maybe you didn't cause it or engineer it, but you allowed it. And I decided myself in this vicious spiritual warfare I was facing, I didn't want to talk to Satan. I don't want to talk to Satan. I wanted to talk to God because that's what Job was doing. And I just wanted to be as honest and open with God as I could. So I want to read a portion of two kinds of Psalms that really helped. So reading the book of Job helped a lot. And then reading two different kinds of Psalms helped a lot too. So this is Psalm 6 in the Message translation, and this is a psalm of lament, and it's pretty short, so I'm going to read the whole thing. Please, God, no more yelling, no more trips to the woodshed. Treat me nice for a change. I'm so starved for affection. Can't you see I'm black and blue, beaten up badly in bones and soul? God, how long will it take for you to let up? Break in, God, and break up this fight. If you love me at all, get me out of here. I'm no good to you dead, am I? I can't sing in your choir if I'm buried in some tomb. I'm tired of all this, so tired. My bed has been floating 40 days and nights on the flood of my tears. My mattress is soaked, soggy with tears. The sockets of my eyes are black holes, nearly blind. I squint and grope. Okay, that's the venting. Now we get to the key of lament. Get out of here, you devil's crew. At last God has heard my sobs. My requests have all been granted. My prayers are answered. Cowards, my enemies disappear. Disgraced, they turn tail and run. So that's very characteristic of a psalm of lament, that it's pouring out all your troubles and then coming back to the hope that you have in God. Now, here's another type of psalm that is incredibly helpful and highly underutilized in the church. Recently, my pastor at my church said that this is intended to be prayers that you say to God, not necessarily ones you use against people, okay? So I'm going to use part of Psalm 35 as an example, and this is from New Living Translation. David is writing, O Lord, oppose those who oppose me. Fight those who fight against me. Put on your armor, take up your shield, prepare for battle, and come to my aid. Lift up your spear and javelin against those who pursue me. Let me hear you say, I will give you victory. Bring shame and disgrace on those trying to kill me. Turn them back and humiliate those who want to harm me. Blow them away like chaff in the wind, a wind sent by the angel of the Lord. Make their path dark and slippery, with the angel of the Lord pursuing them. I did them no wrong, but they laid a trap for me. I did them no wrong, but they dug a pit to catch me. So let sudden ruin come upon them. Let them be caught in the trap they set for me. Let them be destroyed in the pit they dug for me. So I ended on verse 8. So Psalms of Lament and the imprecatory Psalms helped me tremendously. And I think the reason they helped me so much is because they validated my negative feelings. They validated my suffering. They affirmed that what I was feeling was true, because in abuser culture, they're going to try to invalidate everything that the victim says. So I was experiencing so much invalidation from others. I needed that validation from the scriptures, the validation from Job's example, the validation from David's unjust suffering. And those kind of things really helped me when I really couldn't read anything else in the Bible. I could at least read those things. So I'm not saying that you should share those with a person in crisis. What I'm saying is maybe that can give you some perspective on the way that they're feeling, the suffering they're going through. And it's a time to be empathetic. It's a time to be compassionate. It's a time to just sit with them and say very little. Unless they ask you directly for advice, if you feel comfortable giving that, and you've prayed over what you're going to say, I think that's okay. But I also benefited greatly from seeing my counselor, and I always advocate for Christian counseling. I think that's a great thing you can recommend to your friend, and I will leave a link in the comments below where they can get a free one-time counseling session and then a referral to a Christian counselor in their area. So I hope this has been helpful for you, enlightening. And again, I would go back to that cheat sheet that Holley Gerth has written, because that can really help you in those moments when you don't know what to say, you want to help, and you don't want to make anything worse than it already is. So I hope this has helped you. Thank you for watching and listening today.